Hey, we're back with Autoline exclusives. I'm Sean McElroy, and joining me today is Daniel Kelly. He's a product manager with Bridgestone. I want to thank you for joining me today, Daniel.
Thank you, Sean. It's a pleasure to be here.
So the reason I actually asked you to join me is in Michigan here. This past week or so, we had some winter weather and got some fresh little dusting of snow and had some ice on the ground. And I felt my car slipping around. It was like, dang! I wish I had my winter tires on my car. So yeah, I just wanted to bring you on. It's that time of year again, and I kind of consider Bridgestone like the king of winter tires. I think almost everybody knows about Blizzaks, and they're an absolutely fantastic tire. And I gotta imagine this time of year is gets pretty busy for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Our general rule of thumb is always once the temperature starts consistently dropping below 40 degrees, if you're in a place that gets any kind of winter weather, put your winter tires on. And, we always recommend our Blizzaks because, as you said, we're very proud of them. They're good tires for us, and we love to hear that people like them. So,
Yeah, and I'm a huge cheerleader for winter tires. They make a massive difference when you put them on. And I always kind of equate it to hearing aids. I have some friends that have hearing aids, and I hear other people that talk about them. And anyone that ever gets hearing aids always says, I never regret the decision to get them. And I have never met a person that has regretted getting snow tires on their car. It makes that much of a difference.
yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things I think you don't really realize how much traction and performance you're missing out on. Just running all season tires or heaven forbid summer tires in winter weather. It just really makes a world of difference. So much safer, so much more control.
Yeah, I mean, go into some of the things that you get with winter tires, say over even like an all season.
Right. So the from a performance standpoint, it's really focusing on that snow traction and that ice traction. And there's a few features of the tire that really promote that. So the primary one's going to be the compound. Pretty much any winter tire, whether it be like our top of the line Bridgestone, maybe one of our cheaper Firestone tires, it's about the compound, right? So with an all-season tire, your compound is going to be generally a little bit harder. So when the temperatures start to drop, that harder compound gets harder and harder, essentially turns the tire into a hockey puck and it's not pliable anymore. You're not, the features of the tire aren't hitting the road quite the right way. Whereas winter tires are going to have a slightly softer compound and a compound that stays softer as the temperature drops. It's not going to turn into that hockey puck like I mentioned before. It's still going to conform to the road, conform to parts of the road. Now, with our Bridgestone Blizzak line, specifically like the WS90 right now or the DMV2, we use a compound technology called multi-cell. And essentially, what this is a hydrophilic compound. So, when you're driving on any kind of ice or slush, the ice itself is not really the slick part. What it is the water that comes between the ice and the tire. So this hydrophilic compound, what it does is actually kind of sucks that water up into the tire and lets the treads hit as much direct ice as they can. It actually has pretty good traction in that case when that water is removed. So when you're getting those high-end tires, you're getting those. It's like little tiny like pockets or bubbles within the tread that the water can go up to, so you get that direct contact on the ground. And I guess the last big difference is going to be the tread pattern, right? So with winter tires, you want a lot of biting edges, we call them. So you're going to have a pattern that has a lot of details, a lot of grooves, a lot of sipes, a lot of edges that are just extra traction. You're driving on the road, it really sinks its teeth into any of the snow or ice out there. And also with snow traction, so I think this is, maybe, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot right now, but there's a lot to talk
No, quite
about.
all right.
With snow traction, what really helps there is snow on snow. So think about like rolling a snowball or making a snowman. You start with a ball and you roll it and it picks up snow as it goes. So with the winter tires, what you actually want is a tread pattern that holds the snow to it. You want that pattern to be packed full of snow. So when it's rolling over other snow, that snow is gripping, on the snow that's already on the road, and it gives you a better, more secure foundation on the road.
No, no, no. Those are great points because I think most people, when they think of winter tires, what would be good for them is really deep tread and big knobby tires. And that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, from that biting edge perspective, those big knobby tires can help. So I mean, like you can do the MT, max traction sort of tires that you do for mud, but really like the purpose for if you're driving in mud, you don't want mud in your tread pattern. You want it evacuated. And usually, like our destination MT2 is designed to try to get that mud out of the tire. So the performance doesn't always directly translate. Just because it's a big knobby tire, it's not going to be as good in the snow as, say, the Blizzak WS90 would be.
Yeah, no, it's always really interesting having myself been able to get up personally up and close with some of these tires. It's really amazing, like on even on the very edges of the tire, how close some of those sipes, I think they're called, are actually how close they are to one another. And it's almost like I think they like fan out a bit once the car starts moving, and you can kind of picture them digging and gripping each little fan. So it's really
Yeah,
interesting the technology that goes into developing the tread patterns too.
yeah, absolutely. And we do we've almost all of our tires now that are all season or winter. We do what we call like 3D sight technology. So essentially, you have all those little cuts, and the more like generally the more sipes you have in a tire, the less stable the tread pattern is. So it might feel squirmier on the road. And I mean, you'll get that with like if you drive on a winter tire, on a dry highway versus an all season tire on a dry highway, you might notice that the steering is a little less precise feeling. But to kind of counteract that and to really help, we do 3D sipes. So essentially, if you were to take a cross section of the sipe, you would see they kind of interlock as they go down. So like there's a line that goes down. So you keep that biting edge, but basically you still have a pretty stable connection between like either side of the tread block between the sipe. And it really kind of helps give that improved control, and you don't get so much of that kind of squirm on the highway.
And can you give us like a little bit of an idea of what might be some of the differences between an entry level snow tire and then like a premium snow tire?
Right. So I talked about the compound already a little bit earlier, and really that's kind of a big one. So the multi-cell technology that I talked about with Bridgestone, it's not the easiest process in the world. We only have a few manufacturing plants, I think, that can handle it. So we save that for our premium stuff. We don't have the bandwidth to do it on everything, and it's really the differentiator of the Bridgestone. Now, I will admit we had a patent on it for a really long time, and I believe that patent ran out not too long ago. So the competition, might start being able to catch up a little bit more than we'd like, but we'll continue to innovate. Um, but yeah, that's the main difference. So for like, if you look at a Firestone Winter Force 2, it's still a great tire in the snow. It still gets the job done, but you're gonna give up a little bit on the ice performance. It doesn't have that hydrophilic compound that's going to suck up that water and get that tire on road feel. So you're really relying more on just the tread pattern and the softer compound to get it. And the tread pattern with all of them are still designed to evacuate water and all that. So it does a job, just is not going to do quite as well on ice as like the WS90 or the DMV2 would.
Yeah, I would add in my own personal experience between, say an entry level and a premium snow tire is that I find that the premium, most people end up driving their car past, the temperature range that a winter tire is really supposed to be used in. I've done it myself. So
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but those premium tires still hold up better even when they're used past their their temperature range that they're really made for. And I found that sometimes the entry level one will almost turn more into like that hockey puck, and maybe the chemistry of the tire itself is changing, and I have no idea if that's true, but my experience is that a cheaper one will get hard and stay hard rather than staying supple over time. That's just, kind of my own experience with them. So, yeah,
Yeah, I
I
could see
yeah,
that.
have no idea if, anybody else has experienced the same thing, but, that's kind of what I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely could be a heat cycle thing at play there. And I mean, on the flip side, we get that sometimes with our more like sporty summer tires, where if they get heat cycled too much, maybe they start to not feel as good to everyone. But I could definitely see that being the flip side for the winter tire too.
Yeah, and it always kind of makes me laugh when there's someone that says, "Hey, I can get by just fine with my all season tires in the winter time." And to me, I just feel like those people have never experienced a modern day winter tire to be able to say something like that. Because and I passionately want to tell everyone
I know.
it is a huge difference. It's very close to the difference of going from a two-wheel drive to a four-wheel drive. It's that stark of a difference. It's obviously not as good, but it's that stark of a difference when you finally switch in. And especially when it's your own vehicle that you have driven previously in the winter, the second you switch to the winter tires, my gosh, what a difference it makes.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I know. So we have a relationship with a driving school in Steamboat Springs that does snow driving classes there. It's the Blizzak Driving School, Blizzak Winter Driving School. Um, and I've gotten to go out there for testing before, and we don't just do winter tires out there. We test our all seasons too, and it's really something to see like one of our all seasons being tested, and then maybe later that day we're testing a winter, just like stopping distance differences, acceleration differences. They've got kind of like a sort of like a snow autocross course, and just even that. I mean, just getting around turns and stuff. I mean, it's a world of difference. And I, keep preaching that winter tire gospel. It's definitely, something I think a lot of people are missing out on in colder areas.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I see it every winter. You see people spinning their tires at the lights, or you're stopping at the grocery store and you see someone with what should be racing slicks on their car, and you're like, "My gosh, how did you even make it here?" So, it's tires are always something I'm pretty passionate about. It's the only thing between your vehicle and the road, so
Mhm.
if you can, get the best tire that you possibly can afford is always what I tell people. And you guys make some fantastic tires, and anybody that puts a winter tire on their vehicle will not be disappointed.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree, and I appreciate the praise.
Yeah, no problem. Daniel Kelly, I really want to appreciate thank you for coming on the show today.
No, thanks for having me again. It was great. Love talking tires.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.